Hey everybody, hope you're all having an excellent day. Today's video will be part 2 of my recent ableism video. In that video I explained the basics of what ableism is and the various types of ableism that exist. This video will explain how ableism can manifest in society, as well as what you can do to prevent it. Now, as a brief recap, ableism is discrimination against disabled people, and it can occur in a wide variety of ways. Common examples of ableism in day-to-day life include questioning whether someone's disability is actually real. This is really a big deal for invisible disabilities such as diabetes or autism, which are not so visibly apparent. Ableism can also manifest in non-disabled people using services intended for disabled people, like using the handicap parking spot if you're not physically handicapped. That's just not a good thing to do. Another more annoying thing that can happen as a result of ableism is something called inspiration porn. If you haven't heard of this, it's basically when non-disabled people view disabled people as being inspirational for doing mundane things like having a job or eating or even talking. You don't need to glorify basic things that people do, especially not people who are disabled. It's just not a nice thing to do. So ableism can also occur through ableist language. For example, there's a tendency to trivialize various mental conditions, like, oh, I'm so OCD today, or she's so autistic. Lowering these traits to like the level of personality quirks instead of acknowledging that these can be serious conditions that can significantly impact someone's life. So by treating it like, oh, it's just a little thing, that's not helpful. Please don't do that. Now, ableism can also be more complex and occur in societal structures as well. For example, there's something called inaccessible design. Inaccessible design is what happens when things aren't designed for disabled people. For example, like a lack of wheelchair ramps or a lack of braille for people who are blind or visually impaired. Ableism can also occur as a result of educational discrimination. The mainstream educational system is designed to accommodate the neurotypical way of thinking and learning. So if you have a student who's, say, dyslexic, the teacher is more likely to punish the student for not learning correctly instead of simply adjusting the way they teach so the student can learn in a way that makes sense. It happens all the time, unfortunately. Another example of ableism is called employment discrimination. Just because it's illegal to discriminate against employees who have disabilities, that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Employment discrimination can manifest as not providing necessary accommodations, employers giving their disabled workers less of a living wage than their non-disabled counterparts, and by not fighting against bullying of disabled employees. Ableism can also manifest itself in the healthcare space. Many times, physicians have the mistaken impression that people with disabilities have a lower quality of life than their non-disabled counterparts, which can lead to a reduction in medical services, and they're often viewed as less healthy or less important than non-disabled people. And as a result, many disabled people have avoidable illnesses and have a premature mortality rate compared to their non-disabled counterparts. Now, so far, based on what I've been saying, you probably think that ableism only impacts disabled people. But you're wrong. Ableism affects everybody. Because here's the thing. Mainstream society views being non-disabled as the proper or correct way of being human. And you can become disabled at any time. Anyone can be in a car wreck or have an aneurysm or a stroke. And then guess what? You're disabled, and it's like anti-Hunger Games. The odds are never in your favor. Ableism hurts society as a whole by increasing levels of unemployment and poverty, reducing access to transportation, education, and the internet, as well as increasing levels of bullying, violence, and institutionalization, among other negative effects. Now, I didn't make this video to be all gloom and doom. I saved the best for last, what you can actually do about it. Something called anti-ableism. Anti-ableism is basically recognizing the privilege that non-disabled people receive from ableism and working to fight against it. Now, this might seem daunting, trying to fight against a system that's existed for hundreds of years, but it is possible. The civil rights movements and the feminist movements and the disability rights movements show that fighting oppression is possible. Challenging, but possible. And luckily, there's things that pretty much anyone can do to fight ableism. One thing you can do is learn about ableism, as well as the disability rights movement and what it actually means to be disabled. Another thing you can do is actually listen to disabled people when we try to tell our stories. You can also help us by providing us with a platform to tell our stories instead of speaking on our behalf. Another thing you can do is vote for laws that focus on accessibility and inclusion for everybody. Now, I don't know if ableism will ever be completely erased, but I sincerely believe that if more people were on the same page and actively fought against this oppression, the world would be better for everybody. So that's all for today's video. I hope you all liked it. I hope you all learned something new. If you want me to make more content like this in the future, let me know in the comments. Hope you all have an excellent day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!